352ers. Today we're going to work on Browser History 6 in the Dynamic Web Pages module. So let's take a look at what we have. It's always good to do that first. We have another history of browsers workout of the day. We're going to start with Browser History 3, and it says it's going to split the one-page, three-column history of browsers page into 4 separate pages. A front page with an introduction, 3 buttons, which link to the other pages containing the history of those 3 browsers. And when the mouse moves over a button, it displays the corresponding browser icon in the browser area below. So that's the new dynamic part. I think the other stuff is just pretty routine static web page stuff. So it says initially when it's going to load, it's going to look like this. I notice that the background is now black instead of white, and the text is yellow. And we have an area with 3 buttons: Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer. And there's the introduction, which was always there. And it says if the user moves the mouse over the Firefox button, so it moves over this, then this text, this icon appears, and it's the same icon as before, just for larger. And then if the user clicks on one of these buttons, it brings up a history of Firefox page. Oh, this looks like it's white instead of yellow. Okay. And there's some instructions here. It says make a copy of your NetBeans browser and call it BrowserHistory6. Change the anchor tags, make a div, a variety of different things. So you can see that there's a few things to do. It's always good to look at what you want to do and sort of strategize about what you're going to do. But basically we're going to take Browser History 3 and split it up into a bunch of different pages, change the nav bar here, which was hyperlinks, into some buttons, and then put some JavaScript on them to do some on-click and some mouse over events. Okay, so let's get started. It's always good to have your timer going, so we'll start our timer. And I'm already ready to go here. I'm going to move my browser window down there and tile it above with my NetBeans. And of course we're going to want to start with Browser History 3. So here's Browser History 3, and I'll make a copy of it and call it Browser History 6. And you got to make sure that it's, if you have any warnings or anything here, just make sure you fix those. It could be write permissions or something already exists. You might have to rename it. I always like to test out to make sure that everything is working as it did before. So I just run Browser History 6 copy and everything's good. Making a copy should copy over all the project settings, including the runtime. And I notice here's my nav bar and background, so everything's good. And just to keep the clutter down, I'm going to close that. So we'll go into my site root here, and my I think the first thing to do is probably tear apart the pages. But let's see what the instructions say. If you want to follow it, made a copy of that. Change all the anchor tags to the nav bar. Now you don't have to follow these instructions, but if you already know what to do. But this is just some recommended ways to do it. So I will look at my nav bar here. Here's my nav bar, and I'm going to change these list items into buttons. I'll just do one and then copy the rest. So input type equals button, and take advantage of NetBeans for me. And I don't want this href anymore, but each button does need to have its name, and that's going to be the value. So, and the value happens to be the same thing as all this stuff in here, except for this. Actually, I realize I don't need this one anymore, this introduction, so I'm going to take that out. I'm actually going to take this part right here I'm going to delete this one here because I don't need this introduction anymore. There's no introduction button. And I'm going to paste this over here like so. And see how that put the quote right in front of the Internet Explorer, which is what I wanted that button to be. Okay. And then I close my tag, and notice how it highlights like that. Okay. I'm going to want to do the same thing for these guys. So I'll have that in my paste memory there. So I'll just take that and then Firefox like that. And this time I left the close tag, so it was still there, and I double checked that the yellow highlights showing that that tag is closed. And I'll do the same thing for Chrome here. Close that tag there. Okay, good. So that's got my buttons, and I'll save that, and I'll test it out. And there it is. I have Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Chrome. I think they're in the wrong order, at least according to this. That's easy enough to fix. It's supposed to be Firefox, Chrome, Internet Explorer. So I'll just take this one here and move it to here. This time I just clicked and dragged it, and then I hit an enter there. That's a little shortcut in NetBeans. You can select text and drag it around, which is kind of nice. And I might as well keep my code a little cleaner. It's always good to try to keep a good format. As you know, messy code makes it very difficult to work with. Okay, I changed my anchor tags, and now I'm going to add a div box under the nav bar with the text mouse over for more information. Click history in this div. So since I want that text in there, I'm just going to copy that so I don't make a typo. And here's the end of the div for the nav bar. So I'll just say div, and then I gotta give it an ID, and ID, it says recommended the ID equal to image box. Doesn't really matter what you call this, but you just need to call it something so you refer to later. I'm going to hit enter here so that NetBeans puts the closed div so I don't forget that. And I'm going to put an enter there just to make it easier, and that's the text that's going to go in there. Save that, take a look, and now I have that. Okay, so that looks good so far. And now it says to each button goes to a separate page. These pages are named Firefox, IE, and Chrome. So I need to add those pages. So click a new file. It's going to be an HTML file. So Firefox, finish. And this one's going to be another HTML file. Internet Explorer, finish. And Chrome. Of course, these are going to hold my pages. I'm just preparing to have them there. Add 3 new HTML files to the project. So we did that. Cut and paste the respective history materials in their divs to each respective ones, and copy the style sheet link. Leave the introduction material in the index. Okay, so this is what I have here. I'm going to replace, I could replace all of this, or I could just replace this div here in the new ones with the div from the previous one. Let's go to index here. And so this is the introduction. I'm going to leave that alone. Here's the div class left. Now I don't need this. I just need this stuff inside here. I need this history of Internet Explorer. So I'm just going to go from here all the way to the end of the div, which is here. I'm hitting Shift to get that, and then I'm going to cut. And the nice thing about that is it leaves me this empty div here so that I know that I got everything. And that's going to Internet Explorer, so that goes to IE here. And I'm going to put that to do here like so. Hit enter and paste and save. The other thing that I need to get as I do this is the style sheet up here. It says this style sheet CSS. I need that too, and I also need the Google fonts. So I'm going to take all this head stuff, and I'm going to copy that. In fact, you can go all the way from the head to the head, but I'll just copy in there, and that's Internet Explorer. And I'm going to replace this with that stuff because it needs the style sheet that I had before. And let's just take a look at that. So I'm just going to go over here and do IE, and there, that looks good. The only problem with it is it's got the wrong color, but at least it's got the right stuff in there. We'll fix that later. Okay, so I did that for Internet Explorer, and now I'm going to do that for the other guys. So here's a brief history of Firefox. So I'm just going to go between its div and div, cut that, go to Firefox here, and once again, hit enter, enter, paste, save, go get the head, like so. And to save some time, I know I'm going to need to do this for the other guy too, so I already have this in my paste. So I'm going to go over to Chrome and do that now, because I needed all three of them. And now I'm going to go back to index, and I'm going to go get this guy here, cut that out, div to div, and this is Chrome. He's our last one, and presumably everything's good there. You can. It's always good to test it out, but I'll test it out later when I get the buttons working. I don't need these anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. These are just placeholders in the index file. So I'm going to save that and make sure I've got my make sure everything still works. Okay, good. So I'm going to refresh this, and I've got my history explorers with the buttons. They don't do anything. Mouse over for more information, introduction, and so now I just need to get these buttons to work. And there's some suggestions to do that, of course. Oh, there's the style too. Let's change the style sheet. It looks wrong. So change the style to have yellow text with a black background. So I'm going to go, of course, to my style sheet. Open up my style sheet here, and I want a yellow here, and this should be black. And let's save that, and let's go back and take a look. That looks a lot better. Good. The only problem is, of course, is the yellow text. There's a couple of things I don't need here anymore in the style sheet, so I'm going to copy that style sheet and make a new one. So it says make a new style sheet 2, and copy it over. And then we're going to use style 2, removing the left, right, centers. And plus, I think in the style, we wanted a white text for the other thing to make it match. So that is going to be adding a new file. So I'm going to my project here. I'm going to add a new file. I'm going to add a cascading style sheet, and this one's going to be called style 2. Right? And I'm going to go take all this stuff here, copy, select all, paste, and save that. And style 2 is going to be for my index page. So I don't need this image. This is going to float things. And then the left, right, and center, I don't need that either. I do need this and this for the nav bar and the body and the H1, H2. So I want that. And now I think for style 1, I don't really need the left, right, and center anymore. I don't think it hurts to leave it in. I'm not using them. This is going to be for the for the history pages. I do need this image because that floats it, and this guy has to be white because I noticed it was white over there. If you missed that, that's not such a big deal. It's easily fixed. And now on index, I need to change my style sheet to style 2, right? And let's see how that looks. Okay, so I still have that, and if I go to, say, Chrome, now I've got the white one there, because they're using 2 different style sheets. And it's important to get rid of that image tag, because that image, the image CSS will change the float for this, and we need to put that image box here. Okay, so now I need to do the mouse overs, so I'm going to just do it for Firefox. So on mouse over, what I need to do is I need to, well, I'm going to do the on click first. Let's do the on click. Let's get the buttons working. On click. So on click, this needs to go to window dot location equals, I'm going to use single quotes here because I'm already using double quotes here. So, and I'm going to end that with a semicolon so that I know that that double quote there goes with the JavaScript. On window location, this should go to Firefox.html. Saving that, and now Firefox should work. There it is. The on click worked there. I'm going to do it for Firefox and then just modify it for the other 2. Now I need to add the other event, which is going to be the on mouse over. So as long as I have this semicolon here, I can add multiple events. Oh, actually, I don't need that semicolon there. I'm putting this in the wrong place. I've got to do it here on mouse over. What do I want to do when I mouse over? I want to change the contents of the image box to be the image tag. Which image tag do I want it to be? I want it to be the Firefox image tag. I'm probably going to want to make it bigger. So the Firefox image tag I can go get from here, from the Firefox image page. I'm just going to copy this whole thing here, like so. Now there is a bit of a problem with that. So I'm going to paste that in here. The problem is I've got a conflict of double quotes here. So since this whole thing is quoted, I actually can remove these double quotes inside here because it's the entire string that I want to put into that I want to set as inner HTML. So actually I'm making mistakes here. On mouse over, I don't want this to equal to this. I need to on mouse over do something. I want to make this image tag put into the HTML for this image box. So I'm just going to say inner, I'm going to say for image box dot inner HTML equals that. Now remember, JavaScript is very, very fussy, so you've got to get everything right. So again, on mouse over, go to the image box because I gave it the ID, set the image HTML to this tag, just double checking and see if that's okay. This whole string is what it's changing with, so that's why I took the double quotes out of that. I don't need those double quotes anymore. And then I'm going to set it equal to that, and I do want the inner HTML to be this. So actually what I need to do, this is on image window location, so this needs to have a double quote here, and I'm going to use a single quote here, a single quote there, semicolon, double quote, because this is the double quotes go with the on mouse over. I could have reversed this dingle double quotes too. So let's see if that works. So now I mouse over like that, and there, see, it's appearing. Now of course it's too small, so I just need to change this to be bigger, make that 200 pixels by, say, 200 pixels like that. Save that, and there, that's better. Okay, and I click on it and I get that. Okay, so that works. So that's my little prototype here. I got the syntax right. So I'm going to take this on click and end over here, because that's all the JavaScript that I need for Chrome. And I'm going to need that for Firefox. And now all I need to do is replace the image tags with the appropriate one for Chrome and Internet Explorer. So I'm going to go get Chrome here. And so this is the image tag. I'm just going to take the inside part here. That's all I need. I just need the URL for the logo. Everything else is going to be exactly the same. So I'm going to paste that like that. Make sure I didn't add any extra quotes or anything. And now I need Internet Explorer. Where's Internet Explorer? There's Internet Explorer. Again, just get the tag. I don't want to mess up any of the I don't want to mess up anything with the syntax that I already got working. Okay, and save that. And with any luck, everything works good. Boom, boom, boom. There you have it. Hit the timer. And there we go. About 19 minutes. We'll call that 20 minutes. Good luck and have fun. See you later.